I'm joined now by Anne Sebba. She's a historian and biographer. And you've written a lot about strong, powerful women, and I saw an interview with you where you said you were terribly aware of how macho the newsroom was when you broke into the journalism game. I want you to kind of go back in time. I mean, 70 years ago, for a woman to take the throne, she had to deal with a lot of chauvinistic guys, I suspect. Talk to us about just how strong and powerful she was.
Well, that's so interesting. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me to share my thoughts. I don't think she was strong and powerful. I think it's really an example of soft power and influence. She really had to work at being loved. The statistics have been thrown out all the time today about how she was the longest serving monarch and the most traveled monarch. So a lot of the respect and the soft power simply came from that longevity, from her experience, from meeting so many people. And everybody says her humanity shone through. Somehow she has come to really define what it meant in a very deep sense to be British. The British story is encapsulated in her. She's living history. But it wasn't like that in the very early days, because of course when she first came to the throne when her father died in 1952, was an impoverished nation recovering from war. I mean, even I, who am a child of that era, I remember these bomb craters. So signs of the war were all around. And it's only during her reign, really, that she has created this extraordinary institution of the strong monarchy. And it has wobbled and wavered a little bit, but through it all, she's been the sign of continuity. So I think the fact that she was a woman simply has not entered into it, actually. It's just that she was the figurehead of this ancient institution of the British monarchy, and she's handing it over now at a time when it's both very strong and yet facing enormous challenges, particularly the Commonwealth, which she built up, and many of those countries are seeking some increased independence. So we'll see how it pans out. But I think she has been an extraordinary figurehead in showing us, Britons, who we are and bringing out the best in us, a matter of history, culture, understatement. There was nothing brash about her. And as I said, this tie to the war years and resilience. So Charles has a lot riding on him, but
that's where I was going to go in. I was just going to ask you about that. You said that she had to work at being loved. I mean, she cast such a long shadow, being there for 7 decades. Talk to us about the enormity of having to make this appearance and give his first speech today, and how did he deliver?
Well, first of all, it was recorded, and everybody who saw Prince Charles today said he really looked red-eyed, and nobody could escape the fact that he was very emotional. Of course, it was his mother who has died. But the other thing is that he has had 73 years to prepare for this event. And clearly, he wants to show himself as picking up immediately the mantle that his mother has left for him. I think there were so many interesting things in that speech. First of all, I'm delighted as a writer that he quotes Hamlet. You know, may flights of angels sing you to your rest. I mean, it's such a wonderful, evocative line. He referred to his darling wife, Camilla. They've been married for 17 years. It was not always a given that she would be loved in the way she is as the Queen Consort. But in 17 years, she's really grown into the role. And he spoke of how he relies on her, which I thought was extremely interesting. So she's positioned herself as somebody who loves books as well. And that's helped with her popularity as she meets people. And also he referred to Meghan and Harry with love. So clearly he's trying to immediately mend the rifts in his own family, as well as the wider rifts in the country. But finally, I want to say he has a very good team. He's going to slim down the monarchy, and he will rely on William and Catherine, who added to their bouquet of titles today. And I think that's extremely wise because they are very popular. And so with this small team, I think he's very well positioned to take on all the best of his mother and yet add to that legacy because he's been a long-standing champion of the need to do something about climate change and the environment. And if his mother defined the narrative of what it meant to be Britain, here's a chance for Charles III to define what it means in 2022 in a multicultural, diverse Britain. And Charles has always championed the country as a multi-faith country. So I'm optimistic.
Well, Anne, thank you so much for your insights. It's a pleasure chatting with you.
Oh, thank you.